Yes, indeed. Tonight, what I had for you guys is want to give kind of a description, open up with that, and then I'm going to go into further details on kind of where we're at, shifting-wise. Ever since we've announced the shift, it's crazy. It's like throughout everyone, you know, it's almost like a shaking has been happening. So, in which I expected, I knew, you know, because we're talking about more territory now. And so, one of the Leadership 101 is, you know, expect a challenge, you know, expect it. It comes with the territory. You talk about taking territory, expect challenge. You know, it's not always going to just be given to you, you know, but remember that when those challenges come, all they're showing is, again, they just show us our weak spots. That's all. It doesn't mean that you're not fit to do. It's just showing you that, hey, this is a weak side. Work on this weak side, okay? Don't leave yourself open to that and be so vulnerable. But one of the things as I was reading and really just studying up on the disciples and the time of their departure, and when Christ was about to do what he needed to do and depart for them as well, there was that portion where they were all trying to be convinced, right? It was like the Father was trying to convince them that, you know, this time I've had with you, you know what I mean? Like, I need, y'all do know it was time well spent. This wasn't no play. This was time well spent. Y'all got time that most people, you know, a lot of people would have loved to get, but they couldn't. So it was still considered time well spent. And but still, a lot of them wasn't convinced yet. They really weren't. They knew in their mind what they wanted to do, right? You know, that's why, you know, even when Christ was trying to reveal what was in Peter at the time, he was so in his head that it didn't matter what he was telling him, what Jesus was saying to him, you know what I'm saying, what questions he asked him, he knew how to answer real good out of his head, right? Out of just the knowledge of what he knew he should say. And he was just like, man, we almost there. We about to do this, but you don't even know what's in you, for real. But did he ever say to him that because what I see is in you, you disqualified? Anybody read that? Ain't that amazing? Nowhere, but he knew what was in him. He didn't even focus on it. He kept asking those questions because he wanted it to come up. He knew that Peter wasn't going to draw it out of himself, but he knew Peter was going to have a few encounters. And before you have these encounters, I'm going to let you know that I know what's in you. But I still say to you, upon this rock, you know what I mean? I will build my church. I'm still saying that the Spirit of the living God is inside of you. And upon the revelation that you get, I'm going to use you to build my church. But oh, by the way, you know you're going to deny me, right? Not one, not two, but 3 times. But upon this rock. Y'all, you see what I'm saying? Like, and so a lot of times we respond off of what we see or know is flawed. That's how we come to the table. So I want you to look at this picture, this table, right? Banging table, laid out, and then it's got loaf of bread. It's just amazing. And like, you hadn't ate in days. That's how I want you to look. You haven't ate in days. Like, so usually a loaf of bread won't eat. Ain't gonna stir you up. There's some bread on the table. But if you ain't ate in a while, and you see this loaf of bread real tall, stomach might start growling. You know what I mean? Butter, nice, whatever your imagination take you. But that bread is on the table and it's looking good. Now this is the deal. When the bread was brought in, though, there were some things that fell off the plate of the bread. Some crumbs fell, you know. But they weren't on the table. They just brushed the crumbs off. So you got this big old loaf of bread, and then you got crumbs all over it. You know what I mean? From pieces all over the place. What usually happens, and the father will say, come. You know what I mean? This is for you. Come eat. I want you to eat. Most people, especially who haven't eaten days, whatever the case may be, they're going to stop at where the first piece is. My question to y'all, because of where we're at right now, do you have the mindset to actually pick up a crumb, eat from the crumb that came from the bread, and that crumb satisfy you? Will that crumb, will you stop there? Or will you go to the table? And this is not a trick question. I'm trying to let you see what happens to most people who are being birthed to be raised up for leadership. Is what we'll do is we'll measure the piece we're supposed to have because of the flaw that's in us. And listen, that flaw you saw, he's been telling you about that flaw the whole time. So it's not shocking to him, right? Apparently, he's not that concerned about it. However, right, he does want there to become a repentance happening and things and you growing from that. But he already called you. He already called you. So what we'll do, a lot of times we'll go pick the crumb. We'll eat from the crumb and we'll be satisfied from the crumb. And we'll testify and we'll believe we're testifying the same as somebody who went to the table and sliced them a piece of bread. Same texture, same taste, but a whole different feel. Right? A whole different feel. And we'll allow whatever feel we want. We'll determine what we deserve off of what we may feel, see in us, or sense what's going on in that time and in that season. A lot of us would be like, I'll go straight to the table, will you? Would you? Would you went straight to the loaf? Or would you've crumbed it? Because you can crumb it all day and actually get a feel. How do you crumb in a situation like this? And what's happening is a transition. How do you crumb your way to something? This is how you crumb your way to something. And this is what I pray that you guys will get, and what I wanted to get into tonight is that an easy way to crumb your way to where the Father's taking you, right, is that for the longest, you will, whoever has been preparing you to sit at the table, your mindset, your thought, your process, you will always think that that table prepared with that loaf of bread is for the one who taught me. Can't be for me. Can't be for me. It's for the one who taught me. It's for the one who mentored me. It's for the one who raised me up, right? That's who that's for. So how do you know you crumb it? I crumb it because I continually only do as the one who raised me up to do. I only do as they say. Oh, I do. I'm in line. But you said. So because you said, I can do. That's crumbing. You come sit at the table all day. But you got to know that that table and that loaf is for you. That's for you to eat. That's prepared for you. Right? Time to think, can't be. How do we crumb it? Good example. Have you ever looked at any of the leaders, or just myself and Angie, you ever look at a situation and be like, man, that right there, I can't wait for that. Or I sure wish I could have that, or I could experience, you know what I mean? You ever have that moment? If you ever had that moment, and you keep having those moments, you crumb it. Right? Because whatever, and even if it's the leader preparing it, still prepare. It's for you. It's for you to eat. But I can't come to that table. But I can take off what you give me, and I can eat, and I can crumb it. Right? I can crumb it, but I'm good with crumbing it. Still get a little nourishment, you know what I mean? A little fed, I'm in the game. Right? But to be able to shift, and that's what's happening with you guys. And as you're shifting, there's some things, right, that open up, and you begin to, man, okay, I'm feeling some turbulence in the air, but dang, the ride ain't as smooth as it is when I'm with Pop. Right? It's just not as smooth. I'm feeling just a little bit too much turbulence. And a lot of that comes from, again, man, I just been taking the crumbs. You don't have to take the crumbs. You don't have to eat up off the floor and then try to convince yourself, right? When you have to convince yourself, then you know that you've been crumbing. And the Father wants you to come. Now it is y'all's time to come to the table for real and eat. Eat. It's for you. It's for you. It's really for you. You get what I'm saying? It's really like this. It's for you. It's for you. Right? It's not for me. It's not for me, son. It's for you. It really is for you. You get what I'm saying? It's for you. A lot of times we think it's for the leader to come upon me to go upon. Nah, this shift is happening, and it's happening for you. But how do you see that? What's your perception? What's your view on the shift? Another thing is, out of possibly a false humility, okay, I'll take the crumbs. Another thing could be a voluntarily. I really don't want that table. I don't want to sit at that table. I don't know why. What's wrong with the table? It's an invite. You know what I'm saying? The other time, if you weren't invited, now you got a problem. You know what I mean? Now you got a problem with not being invited. What's wrong with me? How come I want invited? Right? See how we can take it either way, but again, it's for you. It's for you. One of the greatest things that y'all are going to get from this transition, this shift, you're about to see what's really inside of you. And what's inside of you is not based off of, it's not based wholly on or off of what a flaw or two that you've seen or have come up. It's not. And I'm telling y'all, God ain't tripping. The Father is not tripping off of that. He's not. He's not tripping off of that. Everything you do is always going to be progression. It's always in process. Y'all hear what I'm saying? If you don't get this for yourself, it's going to be hard to see it for other people. Because then you might try to put the same expectation on yourself onto them. If you got the wrong perception, that's going to hurt somebody. You got to be okay with even the way it is for you. You have to be okay with process. You see what I'm saying? I'm not sure what you need.
Mosaic steel?
Who?
Mosaic steel?
Oh, that might be the,
drums.
what's the name? The Addicts Theater.
No, they said they were over here for the month.
For the TWP?
Change with the purpose. Need your love, or who are you seeing?
Ryan's our instructor. So
No.
It might be, yeah.
I'll text him.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm not sure. It could be though, because quite a bit goes on here.
I'm sorry.
What was that? What was I saying? I might have threw all y'all off.
You was talking about how if you like teach other people, you teach them.
Oh yeah, the same way. So if your process is off, you may do the same for somebody else that you're bringing in, and you want to be able to have understanding with that area and say, look, because there's nothing like someone coming in and they're following you and they see this whole setup and they come in already thinking, well, I got it. I can't. You see what I'm saying? I can't go over there and sit down. I gotta wait. That's not what we're doing. It's like, you instantly communicate. Instantly come and sit down. Eat at the table. Eat at the table. Eat with us. You see what I'm saying? Get your feel. But we'll constantly try to run from at times because of, again, what we may see. And everything has process. Everything must be developed. You continually being developed. Development never stops. You're always good. As long as you got air in your lungs, it's always development happening for you. It never stops. The only way you can stunt your growth is to say come to a certain place and I'm done. I ain't going no further. This is where the buck stops. But that's only by your choice though. But other than that, there's always going to be development. Even out of this, something I was going to share with everyone to understand that even out of our process and all this growing, I'm being still developed. Okay, let me tell you something. When you're raising up leaders and to release them, the dynamics, man, it can be crazy. So different, so changing, it's so challenging. As it's challenging for you, it's challenging for me. Right? Because your thing is, you may be like, I don't know, can I? You see, and then my thing is, man, I hope they know. Can't they, I hope they can see. What's in? They don't know the disciplines that are in them already? Can they not see the years invested? Do they not know how much was poured? Do they not know how much I trust? Do they not? You see what I'm saying? All these things. So it's challenging for both. Maybe in different areas for each, but nonetheless, challenges are going on. But out of this, even, and it may not be, it may be very few, if it's not any, I know that's a small number, but for the most part, how is this challenging to you? If it is. Do any of y'all feel challenged?
In what respect?
Of the whole fellowship portion, doing this and moving forward, leading in that aspect.
I was gonna say about that specifically.
Yeah.
Nah. But when after I spoke to class the other day and I mentioned about the whole thing about the mirror being held up, I got hit that directly the next day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like God just showed me I don't even know if I told you or not, I can't remember, but basically he was just saying that something that came up where I was misunderstood by somebody and like it pissed me off, and like before I realized I was all the way like in it with this person, you know what I'm saying, arguing back and forth, and then I thought about it later on, I was like, man, dang, like that, I forgot how much being misunderstood bothers me when my intentions are good, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And God just flat out told me, like, you stop being so offensive about that. You know
Wow.
like, people are just gonna misunderstand you. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's one of my things, because it's like when I'm misunderstood, when I know I'm like looking out for the person. You know what I'm saying? It's always like, okay, you should know me by now that you know that I mean the best for you. So when something happens that goes directly against that, the initial, you know, before this, the initial feeling was like, okay, you know what? Loud and clear. Carry on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And just complete sever, nothing else, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But, you know, guys just had to tell me like that we just gotta stop doing so thing.
That's good. That's a legit challenge. That's what we're talking about. You know, some of them could be challenges where you know, man, I'm actually gonna, and that's why I was saying as far as some will pick the crumbs, they'll just stay with the crumb. I ain't ready for that. What you just said, some people could take the choice, you know what, I can't do this. I already, it's just me right now. It's who I am. We'll tell you that right. It's just who I am. I can't do this. Instead of taking the mature route and saying, you know what, I'm gonna take this lesson right here and understand I need to embrace this because of what I'm embarking in right now. Prime example of when I say, when you step into leadership, you're going to grow leaps and bounds because there's a greater level of accountability for you, right? So you're gonna find out that, man, I may not want to sign up for this because it feels like I'm gonna really have to like hold it down. And the answer is yes. However, it's so good for you because I'll say this for you guys, I've never, don't brag or boast in it at all in what I'm about to say. But I will say this, and this is how you know it's still humility. There are areas in my life that I know that the Father needed to groom and cut out of me, right? And so some of those areas that he needed to groom and cut out, what helped me is because of the people that he allowed me to be able to lead in certain seasons. So there might be areas where Moses would have taken a shortcut in some things. But what would keep me from taking shortcuts is because of the people that I have connected with, that I've considered myself as leader, mentor, pastor, or whatever, and then decided to take on the scripture for real, that I just need to be above reproach. I could probably do this and get away with it. But I'm not, because if I don't, how detrimental not only would be for myself, but also be for the ones, right, that I'm leading in being a godly example for. There's some things you'll never grow up in until you take a position of leadership. You're just not. You're just gonna stay sloppy and just, you know what I mean, lackadaisical about it. You will. There's things, some of you who are married now, there's some areas in your marriages you would never give attention to until you start doing leadership. You know why? Because that pressure gonna be on your behind. And it's gonna be like fire. And it's going to cause you to no longer ignore, and it's going to cause you to step up and say, I need this right here. Baby, whatever we got to do, we need to tighten this up. We cannot be this type of example before people. That's good accountability, y'all. That brings, I know a lot of the stuff that my household has experienced that has been blessing and good things is off of us staying in the field and willing to be committed. Have we been perfect doing that? Absolutely not. But one thing's for sure, above reproach and taking that, absolutely so. Because of where we allowed ourselves to step. We could have easily, you know what? I'm good. Nobody has to see our lives. Nobody got to know about us. I could just be a kamikaze, just jump in, bomb, and roll out. And be a hellion behind closed doors. Right? That's why those who do it, you got to make sure, you got to test, you got to discern. Because when that's just your ministry, you can just pop in and pop out, pop in and pop. Woo! I can imagine the challenges and the warfare with that type of ministry. Because you really ain't doing life with nobody. Can't nobody look you in your eyes for real and know you when you're different, and know when, you know what I mean, what's going on, something. You don't have that type of accountability, you can do anything. Seriously. But you need that, right? And that's what that's what this will do for you, and bless you in a way that you didn't even know was going to bless you. But that comes from not going for them crumbs, going for the loaf, and know that it was for you. That's for you to eat. Not nobody else. It's for you. It's for you. I keep saying that because you got to understand that for this ship. It's for you. It's not for Pastor Paul. It's not for Pop. You see what I'm saying? It's for you. Because it's going to definitely take you to a whole nother level and a whole greater understanding of the Father's love. Y'all about to run into that. You about to get a new understanding by doing this. And be able to see it unfold before your eyes. So whatever that thing is, before you came in, I was in comparison to Peter. And I kept saying how sometimes we can just look at the flaw, right? And then try to make the flaw cancel us out. I said, well, the whole time Christ was letting Peter know and then affirming him, all this stuff, but then let him know, you're going to deny me, right? Like, where are we going with this? And the whole time he was just letting them know, look, I see this. I'm telling you before you run into it, because if I give you the word before you run into it, when you get hit, I need you to feel that conviction, even though I still know you're not going to do. Y'all hear me? Even though I know you're not going to do what you should do. But I'm going to knock literally on you about 3 good times. But I'm not afraid of that in you. Because I know what's really inside of you. Any of y'all had that conversation with me before, with you? You're probably like, Pastor, what are you saying? I don't get it. How come I don't see this? Right? How come I don't see this in myself? Okay, because at that time, he knew you won't go see it. It won't for you to see. But it's all about trusting who it is, right? That the Father has brought before you to play that role. You got to trust. You got to know. It's almost like literally, you remember when we did the blindfold thing at a retreat before? And it's like, how much do you trust that person to lead? I said, man, people got to be off. Something ain't right. He don't know. I mean, he only know what I told him. He only know about this over here. 9 times out of 10, I know. I don't blast you like that. I blast you when you need to be blasted. Now I'm just gonna be going guns blazing for what? What is that gonna do? You're right. So, and more than anything, I know that regardless of what I can see, discern, or miss, I know that he sees and know everything. You know what I mean? So because I'm in partnership with him, he ain't gonna have me out there. He may tell me sometimes things about y'all that I might even be like, Lord, you sure about that? But I'm gonna say what he's saying. Because I trust him. I trust the partnership. And I'm letting you all know, and those who ain't here, okay, that's watching this, I'm letting you know that I trust you. And I'm not saying I trust you that you better do the right thing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I trust what has been imparted in you. I know that all that is good is going to rise up at the right time, and you will know how to do life with people as you've been shown and it been displayed before you. I'm confident in that. I know some of y'all's situations. I know some of your job situations. I know some of your marriages right now. I know some of the struggles, the things you came out with your marriage. I know some great your marriages are. Doesn't even matter. I'm fully confident. If we released you If we laid hands on you and released you, we're confident. Trust the fact that we're confident. Is that okay? Trust the fact that we're confident that you know how to rise up when you need to rise up with the leading of the Holy Spirit. We trust that. That's been modeled before you. Many, many times. Many, many times. And we're okay with the mistakes and the mess ups. You know what I mean? Or whatever it may come. The grace is there. The mercy is there. And there's always, the accountability will be there. But never will it be, we'll be ready to renege, right? On something that we said that we trust you guys in. We're not going to renege on that. So be able to trust in what we're seeing, right? And then also trust that the Father got you, man. This ain't no overnight thing, even though it may feel like that the closer it gets. But we ain't do this overnight. This didn't happen overnight. This whole process, all of you guys, and some of you all from the beginning, you know this was not overnight. We go back to the first class we ever had in the RPAD Center. I sound crazy even saying that. What? Really? Y'all, that's a serious process. I'm gonna need y'all to know. Right? Know that you know, and know that we know that you don't know it all. How about that? Let me free you with that, and those who aren't here that's watching. We know that you don't know it all. So don't feel like you got to know it all to do this. Right? We're not looking for a bunch of know-it-alls. If we felt like we had know-it-alls, then we'd probably go another route with this. So we're okay with everybody not knowing it all. And you will always be learning. Always be learning. But a lot of you guys are going to shock your own selves. Okay? So I said, anybody want to share maybe something that it hit you? Any of y'all did this? Were there any? Yeah.
Yeah. For the most part, for me, is what I have found that was challenging was the transplant. Because I'm somewhat of like a
yes.
private person.
Yes.
And, you know, that was.
Transparency
that was
is
like
real.
a struggle for me coming into
Right.
community. So it's like that part. It was like, oh man, it's coming up in here. That I gotta be so open. You know, so
Yeah.
that was, yeah.
No, that's real. Yeah, so that could pop up on some of y'all. You know, for sure, for sure. Some of y'all may not have no problem with transparency. It's like, it is what you see is what, you know what I mean? And some others like, I don't know, been there before, really didn't like that road. No, those are areas where absolutely it will cause you to know that you have to step up. Anybody? Yeah.
I've been kind of studying Peter myself. I shared with you about the whole thing, the 9 3 times. It was on Christ rose again. He asked me, he left 3 times. Peter was pissed off. Why are you asking me Jesus about loving you? You know everything.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like, even in that moment, and even because I've been experiencing myself, it's like, there was 2 things that was really challenging for me. It's like, actually receiving the grace for myself, knowing that I have flaws, knowing that, you know, I don't know everything, but yet even in knowing this, he still gives me the calling to do this. Like, I'm a hard critic. I'm very hard critic. I'm a hard hard critic of myself, I'm being a hard critic of others. It's a hard critic.
Yeah.
And for me to have to accept the mantle and even the responsibility and the call, knowing how hard I am with myself and not even sometimes having an issue with civil grace with myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? How can I walk out without even receiving the grace of myself?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like, I'm having trouble leading in my own household. How can I lead
Yeah.
anybody else?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
That was too funny.
And this is what I want y'all to look at troubles. This is how I want y'all to look at your troubles. See, it's different when you're having trouble and you have trouble with things and nobody knows about it. When you're bleeding in the dark trouble. You see what I'm saying? Those is that's troubles. Okay, that can get you into trouble for real, right? But what I want you to see, this type of trouble, the trouble of where people are aware, people who are seasoned. You see what I'm saying? When fathers are around, when pastors are around, when leaders are around, that type of trouble is nothing but learning curves. That's all they are. Don't make them more than what they really are. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Don't let them be greater than what they should be. Because when you do that, that is when you begin to disqualify yourself. Right?
See it from God's perspective.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, none of us would qualify. Even I would have to sit down somewhere. I need y'all to understand this. From what even I can deal with and what I have in my life at times and the things that I see and what tries to change me and challenge me, I have to go somewhere and sit down. Right? But the reason why I don't, because I keep my troubles in check. I don't hide them. So even if I have something, or if I go, I got to work this out, whoever I'm holding that accountable, Pastor Ray, or Pop this, Pop that, whatever, it's working out. It's learning curve. It's growing pains. But the key word is growing. The key word is growing. And that's what should always be happening in the midst of any transition, battle, challenge, whatever the case may be. I brought this because it's funny you said that. I brought this back, man, because a lot of that is in this. How many of y'all read a book over 5, 6, 7 times? Other than myself.
The Bible.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah. Right?
7.
Yeah, 5 to 6, 7 times. I will say this. How can I say this? You'd be surprised how much good that would do for you. And some things that's really drawing you. Because there's just no way to retain all of what you retain. You know, all of what you read in that one foul swoop. You just can't do it. So prime example, some of the things, even with the class and those who aren't here, I tell you guys all the time, go back and watch the video. It's so funny. And I will literally get a phone call from somebody and I'm like, and you were there Sunday. And the very thing we're talking about, is on the video. But you just feel like you can get it all in one take. Man, I'm telling y'all, there's stuff that I have, I've showed y'all, that I still will preach from. I still will go back and read. I still will study from years ago. And there's new revelation stuff that I have. But even when I was coming up and when I was being discipled, man, I would hit stuff like 10, 13, 20 times again and get it in me and get it in me. I would never stop. You see what I'm saying? Until I knew that I really, really got a handle on this. I've got my field. And that's something that I highly encourage you guys to pick up on. That's something else you need to pull from me on. you guys have been with me for, those who've been with me for 5, 6 years or whatever, a lot of the things that I've been able to share with you all and teach, if you notice a lot of that stuff, you ever thought, how come there's so much great detail I can go into that? No matter what somebody asks, whatever the question, whatever, I can still go into great detail, right? I promise you, that's just from digging and digging and digging over again and digging over again and dig. And then there'll be some stuff where y'all are saying, I say, man, I hadn't hit that in a minute, right? But I'm gonna go hit it. I ain't gotta go long. Go hit it, boom, I remember. There it is for you. And even partial stuff I remember would still be able to give you a feel. And it's because during those times that you guys didn't see, you only see what's in me come out, but you don't know the times that I actually, that's all I did, almost. Read, study, read. You see what I'm saying? And not just for other people, but just for myself. That was the relational piece. I encourage you to do that, man. Do that. Like even what I'm talking about tonight, I can go back and watch this thing again. I guarantee you it's about 10, 20 things you missed. Because a lot of times when you grab something, you take focus and you ride that for a little bit while I'm still talking. And there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, that's how we process things. It's why it's good to go back. And then you'll find out, and everything that you want, everything that you need at that time, you'll realize, man, it's all on here. It's all on here. But it's having the mindset to say, I'm going to go back. I'm actually going to do more. I'm actually going to read it again. You ain't got to do more research. Just listen to it again. Even that. Just start with that. I'm going to just go hear this again. I'm going to just go read through this again. Out there say, read the rest of this story. Read the rest of the story. Just those little things, I promise you, will take you to other places and other levels. There's, oh yeah, that's what I was going. But I was reminding you guys of this. Those of you who have it, again, I encourage you on certain things, especially dealing with transition and season. I want to retouch on it again. And I say that because this is me in here. This is Pastor Mo all up in this. So either you get it from me when you call me and I tell you, or at times you can just read it and you ain't got to make a call. This is already in there. Right? I ain't saying don't call me. That wasn't the thing said. But what I am saying is you'd be surprised at times, because sometimes you don't want to call me. You just know you should. So those times when you don't feel like calling me, just pick the book up. I promise you it's in there. And you can say it yourself, you know what I mean? Or whatever you feel like, oh man, I'm about to hip hop, I might catch it this time, or whatever. You can indulge a whole other way. Either way, get your feel. Get your feel. You know? But it's all in there, man. And so, having said all that, I wanted to go through more of the structure aspect. I've been getting calls. So, through those calls, and a lot of you guys I know are, let's just talk about a day, what a day looks like in fellowship time, okay, fellowship group. Is that okay? We do that? Because I'm getting calls and things that, of that nature. So I want to kind of settle that for you, of what a day can look like. This is what we've designed and set up for you, for your day, right? Remember I said everybody's may not look the same, but you want to all have the same good results and fruit. So a day for you could be those who you've called, those who you've connected with. There's always going to be some common thing that you all have in common. There's always going to be one thing that you all have in common. Whatever that thing is, you can create that in the beginning. Y'all may want to take notes on this too. Because I promise you, And this way you don't be, you know, on your first fellowship, y'all in there looking at each other in the face, twiddling thumbs, and trying to figure out you all panicking, nervous. What do I do? Oh God, Pastor Mo's not here. I'm not Pastor Mo. I don't know. Oh God, am I supposed to preach? Oh, I got this teaching and I've never taught before, really, and you have, but you just, at this moment, you've never taught. You convince yourself. You know what I'm saying? You just calm, sweaty, everything.
Preach to them couches to the field.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you just so. Look, God, just so.
But your number one goal as a shepherd is to know the sheep, right, that you're bringing in, and then with those sheep, what do they have all in common? And you use that common thing to make that the connector, the nucleus of what it is that's bringing you all together, right, on a relational level and doing life together. Make sense? So I'm going to use this example because this is how all you all ended up here. All right, so in my situation, I had some youngins, you know, that was into music, and they was leading folks. And out of those youngins, they was like, we need wisdom. We know that you're an artist. Teach us about this music thing, whatever. That was our common out. Absolutely. We can do that. Matter of fact, that's how we're going to start. You see what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about leading a ministry of music. Right? That's what we did we not? We sat down. How do you do bylaws, Pastor Mo? How do you do, you know what I mean, core values? All right. What do you got? What do you do when you have the majority wanting to do one thing and there's one that doesn't? And we don't want to cut them out. How do we make them feel included? How do, you know, all these things. Okay, what if something rises up? What about dating? Okay, we got folks dating in the group, and we're now this kind of sour, and all these things. And that was the way we connected. I didn't bring out any Bibles. I didn't bring out, you know what I mean? Matthew Henry commentary. You know, I didn't, when they came up, I didn't have a 5-point message waiting on them. You see what I'm saying? Like, I know what you said, but y'all go get this word. You see, we won't do none of that. You know what I mean? It was all pretty much started off answer and question and answer basis. Basically, they just sat at the feet, and whatever it was, I was able to. I delivered and gave them the wisdom of what I knew in that area. You know, now that worked. It created a relationship. Now they want to do music. You see what I'm saying? Okay, well, see, do some tracks, whatever, work some things out. You know, y'all know. I'll feature on a few, but I ain't about to get into all that. You know, just came out of that. Done. However, that was another connector. So we connected through the music, started doing tracks, started hearing them. Hey, listen to this. We went to the studio, mixing, he helped us mix it, give us a point, you know. And it began from one thing to another. Before you know it, we started meeting regularly, and then it went deeper. That was it, man. That was it. So, am I saying, do you need to get creative? I'm saying it'd be good to be creative, but make sure your creativity is being led by the Spirit, so that you don't create something that's out of your league, or you don't create something that you're going to get tired of in a week or two. You see what I'm saying? But whatever that's going to be, whatever that connection is going to be, you make that connection. Okay. Understandable on that part so far. Any questions? Yes. That's good. Yeah.
This is what I wrote. I'm not sure I 100% captured what it is you said at the first point. When I said the day in the life of a fellowship. It says, number one goal as a shepherd is to know the sheep and find a common ground between them and they get a youthfulness to help create a starting point.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Yeah, that's really good.
Well, let me ask you a question. Alright, so I know we make right? So let's say, for example, amongst your team, so there should be a commonality that we find.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like versus, you know what I mean? Like, so what happens if, for example, let's just say often out of nowhere, I just connect with somebody in a completely unrelated commonality
Mm-hmm.
that we already have in common that we're sitting here reaching and branching out to.
And what's good about that is, even CJ mentioned before, that may happen to him quite often. He's not going to turn them away. You're interested. This is what you know what I mean? I may know someone who's still all same part that may fit you perfectly. You know what I mean? All been trained the same way, you know, highly respect, all that kind of stuff. Send them right on over. But let's say there wasn't a fit for them right then. And they still, remember, your commonality always is, for everyone is, I want to get closer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you don't turn them away because you ain't a runner, you don't jog. And all of us over here, a bunch of joggers. Matter of fact, we all start running 2 miles before we do our. You see what I'm saying? So. Yeah. So that's not. So you always, if the greatest commonality is Christ,
Absolutely.
and they want to have. So, and that's even what ended up happening with us. Everybody in here didn't start off they'll rap like ET. But the community that they had and the connection drew all, and it all began to work because I made the commonality intimacy, right? But the vehicle that started it off, I didn't mind it being music. That's what I did. But it didn't end with music. And music isn't the end all be all. Every part, but it's not the end all be all. So makes sense. Now for that day that you have when you all meet from the commonality, there's always a portion where, how do I set the atmosphere for my home for fellowship? Okay, how do I set the atmosphere? Always, and I would say, utilize a lot of the techniques that we use even when we did our retreats. And you always started off with either a good icebreaker, you know what I mean, in the beginning, because you're still learning each other. So what would that icebreaker be? That would be determined on you. But it would be something to kind of get things going, getting to know each other more, and not your typical icebreakers. Something that really is going to cause some type of interaction that's going to bring out what else needs to happen next in your time of fellowship. One thing people love when they come together, bottom line, they always going to want to experience movement, some type of movement, whether it's everyone moving or someone, you know what I mean, whatever. They want movement, right? They're going to want a time of transparency, okay? And the reason why, and a lot of times because of the situation, you'll have to lead in that because they want to know how much safety is really here. I see y'all want to get down, but I'm only gonna go as far as you. Yeah. So let me see what's gonna open up a little bit. That's why you cannot be afraid to open up. And when I say open up, I don't mean you got to give them all of your business. Y'all, we showed you, Mama. You know a good example of how to open up. You always open up and you be transparent, but you're transparent where you're keeping yourself lined up according to the word on what you're sharing, what you're giving, and that you're always keeping Christ the center and keeping Christ the resolution, the answer of all things. Okay? When you're doing that, you can be as open as all get out. But make sure it stays on you. And when you're sharing with people, make sure that like I said, it stays on you and it doesn't venture off onto somebody else, something else, and now names are being brought out. So we know we don't do that. We stay on us. What is he working out on us? And that's all people want to. If you go any other way, trust and believe, they're not going to tell you nothing. They'll be like, yeah, see, you're just a little too free. TMI. Okay, with yours. So, but the transparency, long as it's on you, you good, you know. But yeah, so you got the movement, you got the transparency, and then another thing is it has to be substance. Somewhere there needs to be something that pulls that day together to an end point that closes it off and sends them all out, whether it's challenging them with hope, right? Victorious, whatever the case may be, but from you, it needs to be strategically woven in. So what you don't want to do is be that person. Okay, we got this, and now, wait, we can't do that. Step 2. You know, because if we miss step 2, then step 3 is going to be a bust. That's not what we're talking. That's not doing life. That's having a classroom full of children. That's what that is. That's not what we're doing. So those who aren't here, I hope you heard that. You're not having a classroom full of children. This is not a kindergarten experience. This is a grown-up life experience. So what you prepare and what you plan, okay, make sure that it has the beginning and then it has the way you're going to end. Okay? This is the beautiful thing about doing life and having a community of these sorts, is that some of the pieces you must leave room because we want to be Acts 2 church, right? So you need to leave some room for the people to be able to, they're going to bring something to the table. They're going to say something. They're going to, you know what I mean, where it's going to help bring the pieces together and it's going to help bring you to your conclusion. Make sense? That's why to a certain extent you have to stir, right? But you don't have to be overly controlling. You do that, no one's going to show up next week. Let's just go ahead and let you know in advance. Whoever came that week, they're not showing up next week if it's over controlling. But you want them to see the portion that you are here to lead. You are confident in what you're doing, but you're also here to learn from them as well and exchange life for a bigger cause, bigger picture. And that they, you know, have that opportunity to experience the full gospel, man. That's what we're doing. At the end of the day, that's what you want, that atmosphere. That atmosphere that they can experience the full gospel. So now, on teaching, let me say this. I want to get this out because I'm tracking time. Teaching. I've had the question, what do we teach? What am I teaching? What, you know, those things. And there's some pretty good questions if you've never done this, whatever. The whole teaching aspect. I'm giving you the liberty and freedom to teach. This is what I highly recommend. Matter of fact, this is what I recommend. I'm glad I'm going here. This is what I'm recommending. What you teach, you need to be teaching what the Spirit of the Lord is saying to you about your life. So as you're eating for yourself, that what you eat, you teach to the rest of the body. Because remember, well, before I say that, so out of what I recommend that your teachings come from what the Spirit of the Lord is saying to you about things and what's going on. And y'all's going to be different because you got different people coming. Now, I could go the route, I'm going to prepare all y'all's messages and we all preach the same thing. You see what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. All right? it just feels a little too plastic. It's almost like what do you call it? You want fresh foods, not processed. I ain't trying to package y'all like that. Alright? Yeah. I want you to pull from. Now, if you ever, let me say this, those who aren't here, if you ever come to a place, man, I'm a little dry, ain't nothing wrong with, hey, Pastor Mo, you got something for me? Yes, I do. If you don't have anything, yes, I will send it to you ahead of time. Read, study, and deliver. Okay? I don't have to, because that can happen. Okay? If you calling me every week, we're going to have a talk. Let me say that too. But I can understand seasons, and I can understand that. You know what I mean? And so that will help. And trust and believe when those calls happen, and whether if it's myself giving you something, I might say, hey, Pastor Ray got something for you, Pastor Hulu, whatever. Know that there's always teaching coming with that. Because our goal is that you don't have to call, but we don't mind you calling if you need it. That's why we're here. Yeah.
Well, what about the foundational stuff? Like,
I'm about to get to that. I'm glad you said that.
I mean, we got.
Because I almost forgot. Now, y'all have a notebooks full of crazy material, right? Now, this is what I said though. For this portion, we're not going, I don't want you guys really, let me say that again. We're creating this so that that won't have to be necessary in your fellowship time. Once they begin to connect and stick to your fellowship, we're going to make that available. And in the same way that we're doing Thursday nights with you all, we're going to start doing for them. And then each one of you all will begin to teach the curriculum that you were taught to them. That's their next step. That's their next level. Now they're saying, we good, we on board. We want to be, you know, we're willing to be held accountable of knowing our doctrine. That's all we say. Know what you believe. That's how the approach I took with y'all. I was like, you know, and out of this, hey, you can get licensed in ordination, but you shouldn't be doing it just for license and ordination. You need to know your doctrine, okay? And not get whooped by 5%ers and Jehovah's Witnesses and know what you believe. That's why we do what we do, right? True discipleship. So once that comes into notion, you don't have to worry about that on your fellowships. Your fellowships, I want them to be very much so what ours birthed into being. We didn't start off like that because that was our path was different at that time. But now we're in the portion where we are like, hey, we're building communities. And out of communities, we wanted to be rich now words and make them available within there can be everyone who's involved can have a word into what you're saying. So, makes sense? But I'm glad I was definitely going there with that. So, and then there might be some stuff in there that you see that you can tie into a point you're trying to make. I'm not saying that's why I said I don't want to say you can't ever use. That's not what I'm saying. But we're going to make it where that's not necessary. We want you to be able to breathe rhema and logos word to these people that need it in the form that's fitting for your fellowship. Make sense? So did that kind of clear the thing on teaching? I'm not looking for that or whatever. If you don't have it, you need something, that's fine. Your teaching portion now, this is another thing. I've never taught before, or I've never, you know, whatever the case may be. I want to say this, maybe some of y'all haven't, but this is how relational I want this to be. If you haven't been to a book club, you've probably seen one or an example of one. When the book clubs come together, it's like they just ready to talk. Oh God, you know what I mean? Dang, did you read this part? Did you know? And then, you know what I mean? Everybody's sharing and exchanging. There's always a facilitator who's gone a little further, who's read a little more, who's, you know what I mean? All that stuff familiar on where the thing is going, so it just ain't too wild. But yet, there's that time where everybody's able to do input. This is how. Does that make sense? So when you come in, you literally can ask questions. Look at this, read this. check this out. Did you look at that? And I promise you, off of what they're saying and what they're sharing, even what you have planned, it's going to add on to what you have. Make sense? That's why even when I prepared for you all, I always made those spots where I knew you guys would add, so it still would not be overload. I had to give you that time because that's the type of atmosphere that we wanted to have. We didn't just want the one where I'm just spewing and nobody's saying nothing, there's no question, you know what I mean? I'm just driving y'all to death. You see what I'm saying? But it was coming from a very personal place. That makes sense? So no one should feel like they're at Bible study. Just a hard-nosed Bible study. Get your Bibles out and don't do that. I'm not saying there's never ever time for that. I'm just saying for this and what we're doing.
Don't. Pastor say don't do Bible study.
I know, it sounds crazy, right? Yeah.
Please not on fellowship.
Right.
Not on fellowship.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Fellowship.
Fellowship.
Say, hey.
Yes.
Fellowship.
Yes. So out of talking,
I'll take one of you.
out of having fellowship, out of discussing, will there be scripture? Yeah. Would it be, you know what I mean? So in a form, it's still, we get technical, this is Bible study, but y'all know what I mean as far as not the hard nose. In other words, you the end all be all. All right, you got like 1,000 notes, can't nobody get a word in. You prepared the whole thing, and everybody just there like, dang, okay, thank you for the information. That's not what we're doing. But you can be very well versed and studied and really eat that word. Make sense? So, yeah, y'all came to eat. So, that makes sense as far as that for you all? Explain any questions, because others who aren't here, I need them to maybe use a question for them, but yes.
Are we also picking the time as well? Or are we going to do it the way that we've been doing it at the same time?
That's a real good question. I don't want to answer that yet. I'm going to consult with you. Yeah. Right off bat, I would say we would say let's keep them all the same. We're all knocking them out. Then there's another side of me saying the fact that the diversity of the groups and what's going on and what's happening says that it's kind of cool. But I don't want to make that not that one. Yeah.
I just want to jump on that. Talk about leadership because regardless of the situation is being as how this is starting out, you know what I'm saying? There are going to be some days that does become pretty cool what God's called us to do. Aaron, HP, and Kashana might be like, yeah, you know what? I definitely want to go get with Stephanie, Dave, JC, and Katie so they can get together earlier. You know what I'm saying? There's 2 different times. That still allows them time to do that. They want to link up or vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
So I think that
creating even more of a community
it's not like we're
partnership.
gonna just be like in our compartments. There's definitely going to be overlap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know for a fact I'm going to be like, I want to go where HD Shana. I heard
Yeah.
we got something going on over there.
Yeah.
Pack up, we going.
Right.
On the like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I just think that it would be more fluid because it's like it would enable us to do more separately together, if that makes sense.
And I love it. It says a lot. And I'll still go with run it over. But I like that. I like the sound of it. So, like I said, I just gotta make sure I'm all around it. Yeah.
That's something that I wanted to add just on something about experience lately. But when it comes to like knowing the people that you're connecting with, like people that are drawn to you as far as fellowship, like be mindful of who, like I just start, you know what I'm saying? Like I started linking up with people on the job, and a couple of people when they've been coming through Friday nights, and we just been kind of building. Had another brother that I met at my job. Definitely want to link up with him. Definitely like connected. And the thing was, where he was at, he was already in the word, you know what I'm saying? But his doctrine was way off left. You know what I mean? He was on some black Israelite, messianic black Israelite type stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I had a conversation. Like it was a slight concern.
Oh yeah,
and I
no,
brought it
it
to
needs to
CJ.
be a concern.
You know what I'm saying? And we talked about it and discussed it.
Yeah.
It was just like, you know what? Because first I went ahead and invited him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was like, you might not want to do that. You know,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
those that's all
yeah.
around that are, you know what I mean, that they're trying to grow.
Oh,
You don't
absolutely.
want to bring nothing in and kind of throw that off.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to go back to him and telling him, hey, we're going to definitely get up and reschedule.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just to be mindful of who you're bringing around and what they carry.
Just like your house.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Absolutely.
like, that don't mean it's not in the bill with them, but you might have to set another time aside
Yeah.
to, you know what I'm saying?
We'll have everybody then questioning their salvation.
Yeah, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, we've experienced that before.
I've experienced that.
You know what I'm saying?
First
We let
hand.
somebody come in and everybody here was
Yes.
like hurt,
You
confused.
don't have the answer, but you know what's wrong. It's just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's in the Bible.
So it's like, even now, it's like you don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
I had that
Because your phone
experience.
will be blowing up. So wait, but when I pray to Jesus or Yeshua?
I'm trying to tell you all.
Yeah, those are battles we don't want. And be totally free
Yes. Hallelujah.
and letting them know that, hey man, that's just not our fight or battle.
Tell me.
You know what I mean? So, you know, if you want to fit, or you want to try to make it fit, it's just not going to, because we're not going to combat with that. So I think that was very wisdom. That was smart. And that could happen in other areas and other things too as well. Just yeah, be mindful, like you said. Also, what's another thing? As far as your, okay, let's say for it's kind of close to what you were saying. Let's say that you're having a problem with someone in your fellowship, or something turns kind of weird or whatever. Remember, I want you constantly, do not have people thinking that you're doing this by yourself. So even if there's a time where you're reminding, hey, go to our website for, you know what I mean? Just let them know that this didn't start happening overnight. For one, it does two things. So people will be like, you know, this is legit. I ain't just been coming over to Shell's house. Because Shell felt like it was a good idea for us all to come work. Like there's structure, there's accountability, you know what I mean? There's a system, there's protocol, you know, those things or whatever, so that they know. And so that protects you in that way. And then also, if it's something that where it's like you must remain in the place of keeping the atmosphere open, you know, not feeling threatened or anything like that. If something goes to that and they want to say or challenge or whatever, then you know that, hey, man, before I do that, before we go in there, I'm gonna check with, you know, leadership and you know, whatever. We'll get back with you on that. Maybe we'll meet up and then cut it. Does that make sense? Don't make them feel like they just in there. They can just without. Oh man, okay, we're just gonna go ahead and in that right now. Thanks for your input or whatever. But and then if you want to, we can definitely set time up. You know what I mean? And it's gonna do two things. That person gonna be willing to do it, get delivered, or they gonna run and be like, I ain't got time for that. Dang, y'all strapped like that? Yes, we are. That's how you want to look at it. We're very strapped. You know what I mean? We're very covered. We're, you know, all of those things. So please make sure you remember that. Don't take on battles and things of that nature. You don't have to do that by yourself. We're not expecting you to do that. You know, man, if I call by, you gonna think I can't handle it. Don't, please. Yeah, don't do that. Call us. Yeah, because we don't want you to find out that maybe you couldn't handle it. Now I got an even nastier mess, you know, that we got to deal with. So make sure you're tight on that. What else? yeah, so everybody got the format? Makes sense on how you, and that's pretty much how you do fellowship. You know, it doesn't have to be that hard, man. Oh, I want to also say this, some who didn't know, this is not, we will do this for, if it's 4 weeks in the month, you guys will be having fellowship for those 3 weeks. If it's 5 weeks in the month, you'll be having fellowship for those 4 weeks. The time that we will meet together with all of us and all those who you're, facilitating will be the first of every month. So that way we won't have to worry about 4 months coming in, 5 months, now we change it, we don't know what we're doing. We're just gonna start off, boom, every first of the month with that. It's almost like, that rally together, encouraging, build each other, you know what I mean, all of that stuff. And then the rest of those weeks, you send out, and then you begin to. Others that are like leaders or whatever still know that there are times when we may come, and which is good. I'm definitely going to bring that to them. If everybody has different times, right? People may show up, support you, whatever. We may show up to either one, support you, see how things are going, whatever the case may be. But that's the way that you guys will continue to stay connected, because I think some didn't have that understanding. We're just thinking that was it, and there's no more. It's like, no, we're not doing that. But there is but however, be prepared. There is still a level of, because even this past 2-3 weeks, CJ and me, I was like, hey, bro, I just feel I feel like I have not talked to you in like, you know what I mean? I say, because we usually every Sunday. And so here it's been that way. This is kind of, how I could be or whatever. But you guys know still, regardless, still available, still, you know what I mean? And I think it's also going to push you guys even more to do more. Community and meet up and spend time and all of that stuff. Doesn't always have to be, you're going to start seeing, doesn't have to be Forerunner. You know what I mean? Oh, what you doing, man? Come over tonight. Whatever. At that time, what you did? I ain't got no problem with it. You know what I mean? Wide open. I'm available, ain't nothing going on. We can do that. So make sure, you guys know that we will always still be coming together, connected as the Father grows, and we still hearing what He say to do. So we're all growing with this thing. I know that it has the ability to grow very healthy and grow very strong. And pace ourselves well. One thing I'm glad about is I know you guys, many of you all have the ability to attract, have the ability to grow, but you have my spirit. I think that's what, more than anything, and what I mean by that, it might sound weird.
It's a cult.
You're right. Right. You have my spirit as far as I model enough humility before you, knowing that it's about people, it's truly about love, and that you ain't just trying to pack the house, have a bunch of folk in your house. So we got to worry about weird, growth so fast, and now we got all these folk in here looking at us like some type of fad or phase that's blowing through, and we don't want any of that. We just we want organic, healthy growth. So, make sense?
Yes, sir.
Bless God, man. I'm so glad y'all are understanding, and those who aren't here, that you're going to see this, I'm glad you're understanding too. And know that you guys, man, like I said, I can't say it enough. We trust you. Okay? We trust you to know what you know. Okay? And we also still trust even the fact that you don't know it all. We're okay with that. Okay? We're absolutely okay with that. So the main thing is you all remain accountable, which you all do. Even when you're in your worst, you're still accountable. That qualifies y'all, man. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? I know I feel like I'm saying it for you, but I pray y'all see that, man. Anybody can jump through all the hoops, man, dot every I and cross every T, and not be accountable with a jack. But when stuff hit hard, y'all stick, and that's what it takes. That qualifies you as a leader. So, nothing else, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all too much more. I know we usually go to 8:30. There's no need. That's pretty much what I had on the plate. This Thursday actually concludes you all's Thursdays for now. It concludes y'all's Thursdays. Any other training, any other thing that we do will be ahead of time. You guys will know. Or we'll take time to impart in you all as you're growing and as you're building. Sundays will remain the same all the way until June. What that's going to look like, as CJ has said before, the transition will be you guys coming together and beginning to recruit and build, and whoever you have you're speaking to that you begin to do together, y'all can take turns on sharing and teaching or whatever, however that goes.
So when will we, you said that it would start the second week of June, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's when you guys will be getting the launch, and then work your Fridays together, have fun. I told CJ I'm probably gonna come to the Friday. I ain't trying to be at the other stuff, 'cause I want y'all to grow. I want you to expand, and normally when leaders there, automatically is what happens. You know what I'm saying? You trying to be as low key, but the Friday nights when y'all doing that fun stuff, I might be in that jam. Y'all know I like, talk a little junk, have a little fun, a little cook off or something. But don't mind being a part of that. But for the most part, man, you guys will be launch to build, and connect. So, trying to remember, there's one last thing. I just had it slip me. I talked about launching on Sundays. Hopefully come back to me. But yes.
These people aren't giving.
Say that.
These people aren't giving.
Hey, bro. I was about to call you out and be like, Harrison, don't be having them trying to give time.
Yeah!
I was about to say that.
I was just like, eventually,
That-
like he taught us, you're not giving to me.
You're right. Yeah. This is what you do as far as our level of giving. Our level of giving, no.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm saying like,
But
at some point-
as you guys are doing that and reminding and sending the things, whatever, if they want to, they feel free to do whatever they want to. Just let them know that in their giving, and what we're doing, that it is, considered donations, okay, because of the way we're categorized and all that now. So they kind of had that understanding. But yeah, they can, however they want to give, whatever. It's no problem. I wouldn't push it. I wouldn't, because they have absolutely no connection or relation to anything. Now, the time where they will begin to go into that is when they're like, hey, we want to try which we talked about, which y'all received. I know it was a little harder for y'all, but it's a new season. They'll do the forerunner 9-month deal. When they get into the 9-month is when they're going to start being taught about the dues and contributing, and they become contributors, as you all are. So a lot of that will be changing and shifting as well. But yeah, other than that, good question though, because somebody might have been trying to do offerings at the time. And
If somebody want to buy me a Cadillac, we just want to bless you.
I was gonna say too, like, the first couple of weeks that we're doing this, I'm probably gonna float in for a second with my camera and record some stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you all just be ready and have something interesting going on. That's good.
Yeah.
Don't hate your staring at each other. You know?
You're right. You're right.
That's stressing about who's standing.
Nah, that's cool.
Nah, the reason why is because part of, I don't know if I mentioned this when I'm talking, part of what we're doing
Oh,
is.
so you can stop it. You can stop this.
Don't get with the plans. But part